Hello everyone and welcome to another pickups video. It's almost July right now, the end of June, and I haven't listed everything from the previous pickups video yet, but I'm gonna make another one just because I've got a bunch of new stuff in, and I just want to start putting it away. So let's take a look at what I got for upcoming. And remember, just like before, if there's anything you see here that you like, just send me a comment or send me a message on the Facebook group or anywhere else, and I can get it listed right away for you so you can pick it up before someone else gets it and you might miss it. Anyway, let's get started. Okay, I got Soul Calibur Legends. This is a weird one. I remember I was at Tokyo Game Show when this game was announced. It was launched right at the same time as Soul Calibur 4, and the problem is they showed this one, and people were like, "Oh, that looks pretty good." Then they showed Soul Calibur 4 on like the Xbox 360, and everyone was like, "Oh, Soul Calibur Legends doesn't look very good." But it's not a fighter anyway. It's more of a adventure game. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. But graphically, it's a Wii game. This is kind of interesting. This was, I think this might have been a pack-in with Xbox at one point. This is Viva Pinata and Forza 2, just on one game right there. This one still has, yeah, and it's just 2 discs right there, and I think 2 manuals as well. Just kind of an interesting, yeah. Oh, sorry. Just kind of an interesting way of doing it. I think so. Hold on, let me put this away. I'll put it away later. Okay. All right. Next layer. I'm gonna list some more Famicom stuff. Hogan's Alley, classic, light gun shooting game. Very interesting. A lot less interesting. We have. Let's see. This is a quiz game. What is it? Castle Quiz. Yeah, Castle Quiz. Kind of a quiz RPG. Again, hard to play if you don't speak Japanese. Sky Destroyer, just a standard shooter. I might already have one of these on the site. Why did I? Okay, let me check. Voltron, another shooter. One of those early shooters. Pretty fun. This is an SNK developed shogi game, and it's good. I mean, I like shogi. I like board games. I like mahjong. I like shogi. I like Go. So if you know how to play shogi, it's a nice one. It's a nice one. And again, I don't know. I like SNK games. I don't know. Okay. King Kong 2. This is a game that not many people is often overlooked by a lot of people because it looks cheap, but it's really good. It's a really good Konami game. It's like King Kong no like Megaton Punch, and just a really fun game. And it's all in English because I think they intended to release it in the United States, but I think they ran into licensing things because at the time Donkey Kong and was like. I think was it Universal who owned the rights to it at the time? Were very mad that they used the word Kong. So like Nintendo and Universal were I think in court. So I think this game was a casualty of that. Okay, Lucasfilm Games, Ball Blazer. Kind of a 3D-ish sport almost game. You knock the ball back and forth. And they made this for every platform, like all the computer platforms, and of course Famicom and Atari platforms. I think this is one of the like Atari 7800 games, but it has procedurally generated music, which is really like ahead of its time at the time. I wouldn't necessarily say the music is fantastic, but it'll be different like every time you listen to it. That's very interesting. Warpman, just one of those really early arcade games. I like games that are kind of simple in scope that just have. That's kind of a. I wonder if I can clean that up a little bit on the back. I'll see what I can do there. On the Neo Geo Pocket side, we've got King of Fighters R2, which was, I think it stands for Round 2. Round 1 was a black and white game. You can still play it on a color system, but this is the first one that was like build for the color system. Some lame Hanabi, some just, Hanabi. Okay, so this is just it's a pachinko simulation for Neo Geo Pocket. I'll sell it for not much, but I don't know. You played one, you played them all. And here's another one. And I don't remember which one is the first one, but this is basically the same machine as well. Just, yeah. Just a Mahjong title. I haven't really played this one that much, but you know, it's like gambling Mahjong, not like the solitaire Mahjong. It's got kind of neat cover art, and Namco usually does a pretty good job with things. I'm listing another copy of Valis because I put a copy up a few days, 2 days ago, and it sold like almost instantly because I don't know. This is I think a lot of people have played like Super Valis and things like this, but a lot of people want to play the first one, and this is the first one. The label's a little dark, but it's overall it's a good cartridge. Oh yeah, that thing. I forgot. Sorry, I said last time that I was gonna do a video on this. We're gonna actually just give you some time. I had requests for WonderSwan stuff, so I picked up a bunch. Here's Chaos Gear, a very interesting little RPG, and it actually has some like it's almost like full motion video. There's some interesting animations in here that I was really impressed by. I remember when I first played this. I think this one's missing. I opened this, when I was testing it. I saw that the cards aren't in here, so there's supposed to be some collector cards here, but they weren't that special to begin with. Speaking of card stuff, this is X from the TV animation X. That was a Clamp series. They did like Magic Knight Rayearth and stuff. And this one was this is by Bandai, and this is a color game. It's just like a card battling game, and I believe that you could use the WonderSwan like link up thing with that. But yeah, this one I haven't really played that much, but I've watched some of the anime, and I remember liking Clamp stuff many years ago. I don't remember much about it. This is one of my favorite WonderSwan games. This is One Piece Swan Coliseum, and it's a fighter. There's not many fighters on the thing, and there's not many color fighters either, but it is a one-piece fighting game, and it's one of the easiest. There's not a lot of WonderSwan games you can play without knowing Japanese or using a guide. There's a lot of guides, but this is one that you can just pick up and play, and it's really fun. It's a fun one-piece game. It's a fun fighter. This is a major get for the WonderSwan color. The Final Fantasy, they released Final Fantasy 2 and Final Fantasy 4. They skipped 3. They were gonna release it. I think they almost finished it, but then Square and Nintendo resolved their differences because Square kind of moved over to the PlayStation, and they skipped like the Game Boy Color. And the beginning of the Game Boy Advance, and they decided to put their stakes of the share into WonderSwan. I guess it worked out pretty well for Bandai. They sold tons of copies of Final Fantasy, and they made a special limited edition WonderSwan as well for Final Fantasy and Final Fantasy 2. I don't think Final Fantasy 4 got one. But it's a really nice port. It has pretty good music for what it could do, better than the original Famicom version, and the graphics looked like almost a Super Famicom level. Very, very nice port. Oh man, this game brings back memories from when I was living in Nagasaki, when I was doing my homestay back in 2001. I bought a WonderSwan, and I bought this game. I don't even know why I bought this game, because looking at the cover, this doesn't look like a game that I would want to buy. Hold on, look at this cool stuff. Watch what happens. You can take the helmet off, and it actually the cover flips out like this. Very, very cool. And this game is a rhythm game. It's a music game that reminds me of I mean, it doesn't play exactly like it, but I get the vibes of like a Space Channel 5 from this game, because it's like you're walking down and you have to hit the buttons to the rhythm. Yeah, similar to Space Channel 5. Really good music, really weird game, but fun. And again, this is another game that you can play without knowing Japanese. I really knew almost no Japanese at the time, so this was probably one of my most played WonderSwan games back when I first got the system. I got some Game Boy Advance games. This is I think this is a launch title. It's like a B, like platformer, flying game, whatever. It's okay. I mean it's good for what it is. I personally don't like the art style. I think it looks like cheap early CG, but the game itself is pretty good. This is a game based on Chobits, another Clamp series actually, but this is later Clamp when they went for the more like, I don't know, moe style or whatever. I really liked this anime, and I read part of the manga as well. That's it's a robot who is found, like, I don't know, in a dumpster or something, and this boy, of course, gets all shy and he turns it on, and I don't know. I remember there was one episode where they're like, the entire premise of the episode was buying underpants. Yeah, it's one of those animes, and the game's probably like that as well, but I just played the beginning to see what kind of thing it is, and it's a visual novel adventure game. I think there's a walkthrough available for this one. Okay. I get a lot of requests for wrestling games in general, so whenever I see a good one, I pick it up. And this is Fire Pro Wrestling for the Game Boy Advance, and it's a Fire Pro Wrestling game, and they're usually pretty good. Like, you don't really need anything special there. Fire Pro Wrestling games are good. Okay, Saturn stuff. Got Soul Hackers. I know a lot of people have been able to finally play it in English for the first time because it got a re-release on the 3DS, but here's the original version. And it's very cool. It's a Shin Megami Tensei spin-off, and kind of a futuristic, cyberpunk-y setting. Very cool game. Riven, the sequel to Myst, in Japanese. It's very cool. I don't think this version came out in the United States. It might have come out in PAL regions. I know we got Myst, but I'm not sure. But I remember this. It's heavy. This game is heavy. I might have to raise the shipping just because there's tons of discs in here. Just how many discs in here? 4. Okay, I guess it's not that many. I think it was like, in my brain it's more. Okay. Okay, Point Break. It's a tennis game by Pack-In Video. There's not many tennis games on the Saturn, so I guess, tennis games are good to have. Flip it over. Steeldom. This is a 3D robot fighter. I get vibes of like a Virtual On, kind of. It's kind of that style of gameplay, but it's definitely its own thing. It's not it's not Virtual On, but it's it's interesting in that way. Find Love 2, the prologue. Find Love is like an adventure game, like a dating sim type adventure game. But Find Love 2, the prologue, is kind of like a getting ready for that, and there's also some like mini games built into here that you can. I don't know. I think this would be a little rough if you didn't know Japanese, but compared to the actual game, there are at least some mini games in here, so you could probably find something even if you don't speak Japanese. Here's another game you wouldn't get much out of. Chemico, the Deluxe DS. Kind of cool how they have a lot of animation from the show in here. At least I assume it's a show because there's mini games and things like that. But again, this is more of this would be more your speed if you knew some Japanese. This is one of the educational titles. It's like 4 different. It's just like 4 different subjects. It's put out by Benesse, which makes like children's toys and things like that. And This, I think you could probably play through part of the English training on it without knowing Japanese. But again, why would you really need to? It's more interesting as a novelty. Yeah, see, there's the English training there. That's Eagle, and it speaks out some things. And I remember there was some kind of funny English and some kind of funny animations there. So I guess that's your entertainment value there. But it's interesting. Everyone should have this game, and a lot of you probably do. This is Phoenix Wright, and what's cool about the Japanese version is you can switch everything. I think they even show it. Maybe not in the first editions they show, but you can play this game in English. You can switch the language right to English, and then it'll just be the Phoenix Wright game, and then you can switch it back to Japanese if you want to try your hand that way. But if you don't have it already in the US, it's the Japanese version is both cheaper and it has 2 languages. Inazuma Inazuma 11-2. This is a soccer RPG. Very cool, actually. I know a few I think the 3DS version came out in an English localized version. And I know they're making a Switch one right now. But these were really popular when they came out. And, you know, it's an RPG, so you might miss the story, but you can play the base game without knowing Japanese. This is a puzzle game, Kuru Kuru Chameleon DS. This is fun. I've played this for a while. You play against these attractive female opponents, and it's one of those. You know, it's an action puzzle game. It's really easy to figure out. I don't even remember there being much Japanese in it. But yeah, for puzzle games that you can play without knowing Japanese, this one's really easy, and I remember having fun with it. This, you're gonna need some Japanese. This is Tomodachi Collection, but what I'd recommend is if you're studying Japanese, this is great because everything's put in kind of simple Japanese, and everything is spoken. They use the voice synthesis to have the characters speak everything that's being said. So even though the voice is kind of strange, if you're studying Japanese, a lot of you know, game titles, there's a lot to read that you know is not spoken, but almost every bit of dialogue that people say in this game is spoken. So it's a really nice for training if you're learning Japanese, because it's made for younger kids too. So well, there's appeal for adults as well, but it's my daughter plays this, and it's even for people who can't read, it's pretty good. So I'd recommend this if you're studying Japanese, but otherwise go for the Tomodachi Collection on 3DS because that one was released in English. It's a mahjong game by Nichibutsu, which often puts sexy girls on the covers to sell the game. But like as I said, I like mahjong games, so you know, if this one is near me, I'll play it. This is a SD Gundam puzzle game, Power Formation Puzzle. It's very interesting. I think it's the only Gundam puzzle game I know of. And you know, it's just puzzle games were super big, like in the mid to late 90s, and every franchise had one, and Gundam is no exception. Oh, you can play this one if you don't know Japanese, which is different from a lot of the Gundam games. This is a Fire Pro Women's All-Star Dream Slam Wedding, and this is just this is, I guess, similar to like Glow Wrestling, like you know, Japan women's wrestling. They made a game using the Fire Pro engine, and it's good. Again, if you like wrestling titles, it's a good one to have. It plays very similar to those. If you like Fire Pro. This is a Ranma game. This most of the Ranma games on the Super Famicom were fighters, but this is an RPG, and you play as Ranma. And this is one of the first like import games I tried to play back when I was first learning Japanese, and it was hard when I was first learning. But I put it in recently, and it's pretty easy actually to figure out, especially if you know the plot, the basic storyline of Ranma, and understand the characters. Even without being able to read it, you can understand a lot. And there's really good guides now, so you can go through the whole game just using a guide. And the battle system's interesting, and if you like Ranma, it's a fun game. It's a lot deeper than the other Ranma games. Super Power League. This is the Famicom, Super Famicom version of the PC Engine really famous Power League series. It's a good baseball game. It's a graphical improvement from the Power League series, and it's Hudson's baseball game. It's not bad. Oops, sorry. From TV animation Slam Dunk. Slam Dunk was a hugely popular basketball manga and anime they made afterwards. I read it when they had the English translated version in something called was it called Raijin Comics or something? I don't remember. It was like a comic subscription thing that was popular when I was in college, but actually it was never that popular because it stopped after about a year and a half. But anyway, I'm not really into basketball, but Slam Dunk was really, really good, and this is a fair, good arcadey type baseball game. I'm going to skip this right now because I want to talk about that in detail in a bit. This is another great game for import people because it did not come out, well, it didn't come out on the Saturn in the United States, but you can switch the language on this to English. I don't think it shows, but yeah, you can switch the language on this to English. And if you like wizardry games, I don't know if everything switches to English, but yeah, see, they've even written the English in there. But that's one of the claims to fame of this. It's a lot of the wizardry games had English in, even some of the Famicom wizardry games you could switch to English. So you can definitely play this one through, even if you don't speak Japanese. Gameware. This was like a Saturn magazine. It's got like demos, original comics, stuff like that. Just little movies and trailers and ads. There's ads in some of these. I think they were sold pretty cheap, and I think they were partially ad supported. I should find out how much they actually were, but they made about, I think, 6 or 8 volumes of this. It wasn't one of the more popular ones. There was one put out by Sega itself that went way more issues than this, but it's kind of interesting. It's not my favorite magazine on a disc. That would be Ultrabox for the PC Engine. Those things were crazy. Virtua Fighter Remix. It's Virtua Fighter. The graphics have been upgraded. I think some new characters are added. It definitely looks better than Virtua Fighter. But I don't know. It came out too soon before Virtua Fighter 2, so I don't think it ever really got that much recognition because people were, they played Virtua Fighter and they were waiting for Virtua Fighter 2. But it's a very good game, like all the Virtua Fighter games are. I'm restocking Virtua Cop 1 and 2 because I just sold them today. So, just put them back in stock. Fantasy Zone. I'm not sure whether to take these vintage stickers off or not. I mean, they'll peel off really easy, but I might just leave them on because it gives it kind of that collector look, and whoever buys it would be able to take them off real easy. But PC Engine port of Fantasy Zone. I feel like I've talked through that one already. All right, let me get to this. This is very interesting. This is the Sega Saturn Photo CD Enabler, and it looks like it's going to be a piece of hardware, but it's actually just a disc. It's actually just a disc. So, yeah, that's just empty space right there. So, but basically what it is, it's like a boot disc that you put into your Sega Saturn, and it allows you to run photo CDs. Now, the PCFX and I believe the 3DO could run photo CDs without having any additional thing. They had the hardware to run them right inside, so you can play those off of PCFX. But for the Saturn, and I believe PlayStation as well, needed something. PlayStation was a piece of hardware. Saturn was a boot disc. Although you can get a piece of hardware that plays video CDs that will also allow it to play photo CDs without using this disc, but I think it was not that expensive. Photo CD was a format released by Kodak that they thought was going to really, really be big. for a while in the 90s, you could get your photos developed and you could pay a little more money and have them put on a photo CD. And they made like standalone players. You could play them in a computer. You could play them in, a number of systems. So most of the discs released for photo CD, I mean, Kodak tried to release some legit things like Tour of the Grand Canyon and stuff, but really most of the things were this. They were like photo albums of cute girls. Now, if you look on the things that played, it says a Kodak photo CD player, so that's the in-house thing that would play them. A Sega Saturn, and it doesn't say anything, but some of them say Sega Saturn with this thing. 3DO, PCFX, a CDI would play them, a Macintosh, and Windows. So there's some software on here for those. And this was the photo CD logo that you'd see on all those. I got another one here. Yeah, it's mainly used for to see pictures of sexy girls. That's the main thing. It works on a Panasonic Woody, an FM Towns Fresh, a Power Macintosh. Okay, there we go. The Sanyo 3DO Tri, the Panasonic 3DO Real, and the PCFX. This one doesn't even say the Saturn on it. Maybe because... Oh, okay, hold on. But you need the software. But yeah, this will play in the Sega Saturn if you've loaded the software in there. But what's cool is they also made some games. Look at this. This one's called Mars Blade, and it's a visual novel, so it actually allows you to make some choices. It was made by Idea Factory. This is some of the earliest games they ever made. And yeah, it's a game that uses photo CD. So you can play it on a Macintosh, MS Windows, a 3DO, a Saturn, a PCFX, a CDI, or just the Kodak standalone photo CD player. I don't know. I never heard anything, and I cannot find anything about this really on the internet. I mean, this is a truly multi-platform game. I got another one. Dark Chaser. And these are games that would play. Now, they're not great games. I mean, you couldn't have an action game or whatever. They have to be a certain type of game. Visual novel or adventure game, like Myst type games that use just single slides and allow you to make choices. But these are games that you could play on the PCFX, or you could play them on the Saturn as long as you use this thing, or you could play them on whatever. I think that is really, really, you know what? I keep saying I got to do videos about stuff, but I think I actually will do a video on those, but it'll probably be a ways down the line, because that's going to take me a lot more time to make a video about, like, English bikini teachers. I got some more carts right here that I just did a video about. Fighting Road is it's a 2D fighter. It's really big character sprites, surprisingly large. This is Lost World of Jenny. You know what? You should just watch that video. I'll just show you what the other titles are. Space Hunter. Oh, that was Obake Kyutaro. And Armadillo, which is really, really, really unique. Anyway, teased a bunch of stuff. Talked about a bunch of other stuff. Anyway, if there's something that you like from there, something that you'd like to see more of, something that you'd like to see me do a video on or test, or something you'd like to buy, just leave me a comment. And please, if you like what you see, give me a like, and that'll indicate to me that you want me to do more of these. Anyway, thank you very much for watching this far. Again, I was trying to do a shorter video, but we're coming in at almost 30 minutes. So if you're still listening to my voice right now, thank you very much. Bye-bye.